Welcome back, my beautiful people, to another episode of Talk It Up with Tierra Monique. I am your girl, Tierra Monique, and it is time to talk it up. So, welcome back to another episode. Today is Freedom Friday, and hello, April. April showers bring May flowers. So, or like Drew Hill would say, "Oh, April shower me with your love." You don't know, that's way back in the 90s. Go copy that album. Um, Drew Hill was the best. But anyway, we're not talking about that today. I'm getting sidetracked already. So today, on Fridays, I'm going to start doing reviews of reality shows and the ones that I'm currently watching. So right now, I am currently watching Ready to Love. I gave you a little sneak preview of what I've been watching last week on last week's episode. So if you haven't listened to that yet, please go back and listen to that. And again, before I get into all of that, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Talk It Up with Tierra Monique. Just hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get all the notifications when I post a video. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about Ready to Love. Okay, so this is season 5, and I've been watching it for the past 3 seasons. And I'm just going to do a recap of last week, and then I want to get into tonight's episode, which was season 5, episode 9. So first, I'm going to do a recap of season 5, episode 8, which was called Operation Meet Homie or Meet the Homie, which is really cool title. So let's get into it. All right, so here we go. So the men introduced their strong connections to their best friend. So Tommy told the men to, go introduce your friend, your strong connections to your friends and see what your friends have to say about your strong connections. All right, all right. So the first one who was up was Paul, or POJ, Mr. Delivery. He had a friend named Chill Bill, right? And he introduced Chill Bill, who I call Mr. Sugar Daddy, to Dakia and Carmen. Now, he was supposed to meet Christina, but he said that Christina was being evasive. I think Christina checked out a while ago, I think ever since the previous episode 7, where Paul had met her ex-boyfriend, I think it was kind of like a little dicey after that part because her ex-boyfriend made her look really bad. But anyway, so Paul met up with Dakia and Carmen, and Chill Bill said that if you want to have a woman for life, basically, you want to go with Dakia. But if you want to go back to being POJ, which is a gigolo, then you can be with Carmen. So he needs to decide, does he want to be Paul, who is mature and is ready to settle down and grow and live his life with someone, or does he want to be with someone that he can continue to party with, and that will be with Carmen. First, I want to say, Carmen, you are a beautiful woman. With those blue eyes, those blue contacts, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Keep those in high school. You're already a beautiful woman. You do not need those blue contacts. But hey, if that's how you want to roll, that's your business. But I'm just telling you, girl, on behalf of all of the women who watch this show, you are already beautiful. You do not need those blue contacts to enhance your beauty because you are already beautiful enough. Okay, okay. All right. So next, this is a recap, so I'm just going real fast through episode 8. So the next was Tori, and his BF name was Ash or Ashley, and he had Ashley meet Sabrina and Ace. Now, Sabrina brought him a gift. I think she was just trying to say sorry for how she treated him on episode 6, I believe, when they had the pool party. And she kissed Demetrius, or nibbled on his ear, and then Demetrius came and kissed her. So I think she's just trying to make him feel good. But he made a comment that he doesn't think that she's really ready to settle down because she's only been divorced for a year and a half. And I was like, wait a minute, sir. A year and a half is good. It'd be different if she was only divorced for a month. But her being divorced for a year and a half is good. That means she took time to heal herself and go through the process of healing. And so she is ready to love. So I think he's just a little petty or shady or feeling a little salty because she has more than one connection. She has a connection with him, Donovan, and Demetrius. So that's that. So Ace was supposed to show up and she did not show up. So quiet as kept. We think that she didn't show up because of Laverne, because Laverne got kicked off in the previous episode. So, which could be true. I mean, they did have a strong connection, Ace and Laverne. So that could be it. So next, Demetrius and his friend named Ken, and he had Ken meet Sabrina only. He said that Sabrina. Oh yeah, so Sabrina asked Ken, what does, Demetrius want in a woman? And he said he needed a submissive wife. So of course Sabrina was like, no, stop the press. What are you talking about? You want a submissive wife or a submissive woman? That's not what I'm trying to be. But I took that as he just wants a woman who is willing to follow. There's nothing wrong with being independent and being your own woman. And there's nothing wrong with being submissive. Because if you want to be in a relationship with someone and you want to have a serious long-term commitment, you're going to have to be submissive to him and he's going to have to be submissive to you. If you're doing it God's way, because the Bible says that we're supposed to be submissive one to another. So it's not about being domineering or him being dominant over you and you being inferior. It's about you submitting to his vision, because as he follows God, he's then you're gonna be able to follow him. But that's neither here nor there. So she didn't like that. The next one was Big Cliff, which is my favorite. Oh, he is. Cliff is my favorite. So I definitely see why Joy and Dakia really, really like him. So Big Cliff had his friend, I think his name was Kenny too, meet Joy and Dakia. Okay. So Joy said she was not threatened by Dakia being there. She knows that her strong connection is already solid with Clifton. I call him Big Cliff. I think Dakia is a little threatened by Joy being there, but he did pick Joy. So his friend picked Joy as being his strongest connection. He said that he can see how Cliff would want to be with Dakia, because she seems like a strong woman as well. But he does feel like Joy is his connection. All right. So yes, but Clifton had said that he's, even though he does have a strong connection with Joy, he still likes his connection that he has with Dakia. But I think his connection with Dakia is more sexual, because whenever they're together, it's like they play on these sexual innuendos. And I wrote down that there is no doubt that you're going to go through life having multiple connections with people, because it's easy to connect with people when you have commonalities, things that you're compatible with, when you're dating in this dating game. But I wrote down that you want to choose a person that you want to do life with, not the person you're gonna have a great night with. Okay, so you want to choose someone you're gonna have a great life with, not a person you're gonna have a great night with. And I think that right now he's seeing Dakia as just somebody who's fun and very sexual, and they can have that kind of play. But in long term, his really strong connection overall, all around, is Joy. Okay. All right. So the next one is Donovan, or how the ladies call him now, Donnie, and his friend is Phil. So Phil came from season 4, and at the time they said that he was still with Sydney, but I think they filmed this right after season 4 was over. So in the streets right now, the social media streets, saying that him and Sydney aren't together no more, but I hope not, because they were really cute together. But anyway, so Donovan and Phil have been friends for a very long time, and Donovan had Phil meet Sabrina and Tina, which was weird because he says that he has a connection with Carmen. Was Carmen not there? Did I not write that down? I don't see. So yeah, that was weird. But anyway, so Sabrina calls him Donnie, okay? And Donovan, oh, sorry, Donovan had Phil meet Sabrina and Tina, okay? So Sabrina was very engaging and she was talking and she was communicating with Phil and asking questions. But Tina was very off. First of all, she got there late. And then she's like, she didn't want to eat. Donna was like, hey, go ahead, eat something. She's like, nah, I already ate. So how do you show up to a date and you already ate? What is that? It's like you really don't want to be there. You're gonna have an excuse as to why you want to leave. So she was kind of like, I don't know. So um, Phil said that he told Donovan that he had to choose, who was the right one for him. But Donovan is really pushing towards Sabrina. Not so much Tina. Okay, he says that because Tina has a 2-year-old, he thinks that she's not really going to have time for him. But I think he's thinking that way because his children are older. And so I know from experience, when you have children who are younger and you're dating someone who has children who are older, it can be a little complicated in a little bit because that person has more freedom than you do. Like if they have teenagers, their teenagers can stay at home by themselves or they go out and do what they want to do. But if you have a smaller child, your smaller child is going to it's not going to be able to give you the freedom that you need to go out and um, date, as spontaneously. So I understand that, but I still think he should, at the time of this episode, that he shouldn't have, given up on her. But she was acting like she didn't want to be there. Okay, okay. So then Paul and Dakia went on a date, which was kind of weird anyway that he had Dakia meet his friend Bill, Chill Bill. Because he hasn't had a connection with Takia. But again, I think that Paul is just grabbing on straws, like whoever is interested when he, sends out the invitation, like whenever he sends that POJ bat call in the sky, whoever says yes, I'll go out and date with you. He's like, okay, come on, let's go. So him and Takia went on their first date. He said he really likes her. She's 5'3" or whatever, and she has a sense of humor and she's caring or whatever. He said, but he needs a woman like Takia who will compliment him because she's positive. She don't have no drama, and that's the kind of woman that he wants to have. All right. So right now, he says on paper, Takia looks like the one he is gunning for at the moment. Okay. Okay. So fast forward to Tori and Ace. So Tori had a meeting with Ace, and Ace, she showed up for this one, and she just let him know that, hey, I saw your connection with Sabrina. I felt like you had a stronger connection with Sabrina, and I just don't want to, trample on another woman's toes. And also, I made another connection with someone outside. Ace. We all know it's Ace, but she didn't say it. I'm not sorry. We all know it's Laverne, but she didn't say it was Laverne. But I think we all know that it's Laverne. But I don't know why she didn't call him back. I mean, I guess she just wanted to wait for the show. I don't know if production said, hey, don't call him until you come back on the show. I don't know. But she didn't even call him. So then the men's lounge, Donovan says that his strongest connection right now is Sabrina. Demetrius said his strongest connection is Sabrina. Clifton, Joy, so his Joy. Paul says he's trying to figure out who can handle Paul or PJ, or Tommy said he needs to figure out who can handle Paul or PJ, or probably both, because he's torn right now. Tori, he's not sure about Sabrina, of course, and he's not really happy. And then Carmen, I forgot. Well, Carmen was with Paul. But Donovan likes Carmen too. So, but he didn't have his friend meet Carmen. So I just think that, they just put people where they was going to put people, whoever had connections, and just had them meet their friends. So the curveball at the end of that episode was that they were going to get sent to a weekend getaway. Because the men couldn't decide who they really wanted to send home at the moment. So Tommy was like, okay, you don't have to send anybody home this week. We're going to go ahead and send you off on a 2-night getaway, and y'all gonna be together for more time than y'all have been now up until now. So no one's going home today, but we'll see after the getaway. So they're going by the getaway. All right, all right. Now let's get into tonight's episode. Woo, it was so good. I wrote my notes, y'all. I wrote my notes. So tonight's episode, which aired on April 1st, 2022, was called Getaway. What was it called? I wrote Getaway. What did I write down? It was called Getaway. Hold on. Look, I'm excited. Oh, the Getaway Shuffle. The Getaway Shuffle. Okay. So it aired on OWN. So if you don't know, I'm sorry. Ready to Love is on OWN, the OWN network, Oprah Winfrey Network. And this was season 5, episode 9. And it's called Getaway Shuffle. And so I made my notes tonight scene by scene so I wouldn't get confused. Okay? Okay. So everybody starts to arrive at the getaway. First, Clifton arrives, and then Dakia arrives. So when Clifton arrives and Dakia arrives, and they give hugs, right? And Dakia says she's ready, to cuddle up with Clifton on the couch, her big teddy bear, and she can't wait to do that. Well, then guess who arrives next, or who they show arrive next? Is Joy. So Joy arrives, and she's like, "Hey, Lucy, I'm home." And Clifton's like, "Hey," and they go and give her a big hug. And then she turns around and she's like, "Hey, hey." She sees Dakia, and she's like, "Hey, Dakia, how you doing?" And they hug, whatever. And then she said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go find my place to sleep." Well, Clifton had already picked his bed, and so Joy went. She knew what his luggage looked like, so she went and put her bag on the same bed as Clifton's. Already messy, right? So then Sabrina arrives, and she's like, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" And then Dakia tells her, "Hey, you need to go ahead and find you a bed before they get all taken up." And then she says, "Oh, I see two pieces of luggage on one bed. One's a boy and one's a girl. I wonder who that is." So Sabrina then goes over to Clifton. Clifton and Dakia and Sabrina are at the little bar, and they're sipping on something. And Sabrina gets messy, and she's like, "Oh, I wonder who is that bag on the same bed as yours?" He said, "Are people going to be let's place a bet on who's going to be hooking up with each other this weekend." So then, Clifton acts like he doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, he's like, "What? Who's got their luggage on the same bed as me? Like, what?" And so he goes over, "Let me see." He already knows it. Now, Dakia is all sour in the face because she knows that he knows by his reaction that Joy was the one who put her bag on the same bed as his. Okay? All right. So Donovan arrives, and he said that he is looking forward to, strengthening his connection with Sabrina, Tina, and Carmen. He said, but right now Tina is in question because she has been, like everybody's been saying, a little evasive, and she hasn't really been, um, taking the initiative to giving him the effort to get to know him. Or like I said, Dakia was in a bad mood. She was in a real bad mood. She was in a real bad mood about that. She did not like Joy and Clifton sharing that bed together. All right, so then everybody else arrives. They don't really show anybody else talking about anything. Everybody's just looking for where they're going to sleep. Then Tommy arrives, and he lets everybody know that Tina is going to be late. She's having car trouble. Okay, that's signal number 1. Okay, all right. So then he says, now the other bad thing is that one man is going to be going home by tomorrow. So somebody is going home. So that was the curveball, because the last episode, a woman was supposed to go home. But because the men could not figure out who they wanted to send home, Tommy was like, okay, let's just go ahead and send y'all on a weekend getaway, which was probably already staged anyway. But now, instead of a woman going home right away, a man's going to be going home right away. Okay, okay. And then he's like, let's 5 heartbeat it up, put all our hands in, and let's go on about our business. All right, so now we come back from break and everybody's getting acquainted, okay? Tori decides to have a sit down with Demetrius to talk about the whole thing that went down at the pool party with him and Sabrina. And so they had a little powwow. It felt kind of weird to me because not in real life would another man go up to another man and say, "Hey, what's going on with you and Sabrina?" Or, we never talked about what happened at the pool party, which reminded you that this is a show. This is such a dating show. It is such a game dating show because that would never happen in real life. Because one, the other person really wouldn't even know about the other person anyway. So, um, they talked. Tori, the way he was talking towards Demetrius, he still seemed like a little insecure. He was talking about how his connection with Sabrina is not as strong anymore after what had happened. And Demetrius is like, well, no one knows yet. No one has made a decision yet. We'll just see. He's kind of more secure in where he stands with Sabrina, whereas Tori isn't. He's still very, very insecure. So let's go to the next scene. So the next scene is Donovan and Sabrina. They walk upstairs to like the little balcony upstairs, and Sabrina says she wanted to clear up the air in regarding to his intentions because she wants to make sure that he is just not trying to play around with somebody because his divorce because he hasn't been single that long. So, she asked him how long has it been since he's been divorced? Like how long has he been single? And he said 3 or 4 months. Um, which is not, that is not normal. I'm sorry, take it back. That is not normal. It is very normal for a man to move on faster than it is for a woman to move on faster when it comes to divorce. So I know for myself, in my instance, my ex-husband got married like a year right after we got divorced. I think she was already a part of the equation, doing the whole separation and us finally, having divorce papers signed. But men do seem to move on faster. Although, you will hear experts say, give yourself more time to heal, but men do move on. Because Sabrina has been single for a year and a half, well, since her divorce. The funny thing was that he said, he had been in a few relationships in those 3 to 4 months. So excuse me, y'all. They haven't, so though his relationships must not have been real relationships, they had to have been situationships. Excuse me. Whew, I had to take a water break. Okay. So I was like, them must have been some situationships. Like those must have been like some friends with benefits. Those weren't relationships that you had within 3 to 4 months that you've been divorced, unless he's had relationships during the separation. Because depending on how long he was separated from his wife, he could have had a couple of relationships if it was a long separation. Because you can have a long separation and then a quick divorce. It all depends. But he did tell her and he did reaffirm her or reassure her that he wants a partner that he can grow with, that he can build with, and he's not looking to play around. So I think that was very reassuring to her because she wanted to make sure that because she was feeling a little bit more stronger towards him than Demetrius, that she wanted to make sure that if she chose him, he wasn't just going to play around with her and not commit, which I understand. So then the next scene, I call it Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. So they're all sitting down at the table, eating and talking. And Clifton is just sweating. He is sweating everybody's, just eating or whatever. And he's just sweating so hard. I said he is sweating like a deacon in church and just saw his mistress walk through the door. And his wife is on the front row. But Carmen caught, she got the gist of what was going on as far as Joy and him going to, share the same bed. So she was, climbing around with him and picking with him. Then they show Paul and Carmen at the table, and Carmen, she is all snuggled up with Paul. She is like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and claim Paul and see what's going on with him. And so she tried to be all she was really corny with it. She did what I would do. She's like, oh, you're eating like a little rabbit, because he was eating a salad. She's like, you know, rabbits are cute. And he was like, mm-hmm. He didn't even look up at her. He was just like, just still eating. But he did end up feeding her some salad. So I thought that was cute. But Paul is still like, okay, whatever. He hasn't jumped all the way in with both feet yet, when it comes to Carmen or anybody on the show, to be honest. Um, so he did feed her salad or whatever. So Carmen says that she's trying to see if, you know, Paul is going to be all in with her, or if he just, you know, still stringing, still got stringing her along a little bit. Um, Paul said that he just needs to feel the same energy that he felt on the first dates. So I guess because it's been a while since he's had an original first date with the women that he's had a connection with, he's trying to see if that feeling is still there. And if it's not, he's going to keep it moving. And so because of that, Carmen is like a little weary about her connection with Paul because she feels like, you know, it's losing its steam at this point. And it's not as strong as it used to be. So I think she seems like she's going to go more towards Donovan in this instance. Okay. So Dakia and Clifton, Dakia is feeling some type of way about Joy and Clifton. And they don't say nothing really. They're just out on the porch. It's like you can tell. It's like the elephant is right there in the middle between them, and he's not trying to address it. But it's big as day. And they're just out there, you know, rocking on the little porches, and she's like, oh yeah, okay, all right. But that was it. And he never said anything, and she didn't say anything, and she said, I'm not gonna bring up the other connection that he has, because if he wants to tell me what's really going on, he needs to tell me. But he never told her. He just, you know, they were just having like little, you know, cliche conversations about the weather and how nice it was outside. All right, so I call this part catching up as friends. So Joy and Demetrius are catching up and they're talking. And then they go to Sabrina and Paul. They're catching up and talking. And then Donovan and Joy are catching up and talking. Now, Joy should be everywhere. But you can tell that Joy does not lead on any man out there. Everybody knows that her man is Clifton. So when she's having these conversations with Paul and Donovan, you know it's strictly platonic. That's why I call this part catching up as friends. So Donovan and Joy are talking outside. Although she did have her leg across his legs, she had her leg across his leg. I saw that and I was like, I don't know. That's not what friends do, but okay. Um, she asking him, you know, who is his connection? Who was his greatest connection? He says right now, Carmen and Sabrina, and he just wants to see how, you know, they both move and how they vibe and how they respond, you know, to him out here on the getaway. And then so as he was saying that, oh, Miss Carmen, here she come again, like she did with the kid and Eric in that kitchen. She came out there with her Marilyn Monroe Elizabeth Taylor fur coat on, and she sits down with him and he's rubbing on her legs and they're talking about, you know, talking about what's going on, and she did what you should not do. When you know you're dating someone and y'all have not made it exclusive yet, and you know that he is seeing someone else, but again, he has not made it exclusive with either one of you, do not talk about her. Do not ask about her, especially on this show. If you have only a limited amount of time to be with that person before they have to go and continue the connection with the other person, it needs to be all about you and him, not about the other person. Focus on what's going on between you and him. Ask him questions about his life. Ask him about you and him. Don't ask him about the other connection, because that's exactly what Carmen did. She's talking about Sabrina. And you know, she's not a bad woman. I can't say anything bad about her, but I mean, like she's got to keep like. And then she made a comment, and I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. But she said that she said something about well, I know it's gonna be hard for you to choose. And then he was like, oh, she's like, well, really, not really. I just said that because I had to say that. So she's always about making a point that, you know, I can have you if I want you. Like that's her energy. Her energy is always, I can have you if I want you, but in reality, no, you can't, because no one has chosen you yet. So you can't have them if you want them. Because if that was the case, then Donovan will be all in your face and he wouldn't be still trying to decide between you and Sabrina. Okay? Okay. All right. So then the men and the women are talking amongst each other. So the men are with the men and the women are with the women. And the first two conversations in both groups are talking about Tina. So Donnie, he's like, Tina didn't show up, and he's asking other guys, how do you feel about that? What do you think? How is it going to play out with your connection with her, later on? And then Dakia, asking the girls, I wonder, is she coming back? Is Tina coming back? Demetrius says that he doesn't think that he'll be able to continue his connection with her because he doesn't know where she is mentally, because it feels like she's checked out. Paul says that he doesn't think she should be here if this is not what she really wants. Joy lets the women know that they shouldn't worry about her. They should, they want her to be safe, but they should focus on their connections right now. And that's so true. You shouldn't be worrying about the other woman. Worry about your connection, because at the end of the day, this is a game show. It's a dating game show. Who's going to get chosen? Who's going to get picked? And I wrote down this: be okay when it's not a right fit. I forgot who said that amongst the men or the women, but you have to be okay. I think it was amongst the men. Someone said, you need to be okay when it's not the right fit. So if you meet someone and you all go on a couple of dates and it feels like you'll have a good connection, but you don't fit in her life and she doesn't fit in your life and vice versa, he doesn't fit in your life and you don't fit in his, then be okay to walk away, because you have not really invested anything but a couple of dates. Walk away, and if you're really hung up on the fact that, you spent money on her, then be mindful of how much money you're spending when you're going out on dates. So you won't feel like you feel like you need to get something back from that person. But yeah, be free to walk away if they don't fit, because you're just wasting your time trying to fit a square in a circle. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna work. All right, so now it's really dinner time. So before all that, that was just, them eating and having snacks or whatever and talking. So this is dinner time. They're actually at the table, okay? Sitting down talking. So Sabrina goes and sits next to Demetrius, and she's like, can I sit next to you? Acting like all innocent and stuff. And Donovan's across from her. And so she's talking to Demetrius, and she's asking him, I just wasn't sure if you still liked me. And so in his confessional, he was like, why is she even asking me this? She already knows that I like her. And the fact that she's acting like she doesn't know that I like her is giving me like a second thought about her. Why is she acting like this? I'm not sure about her right now. So they agreed they would talk later after dinner. Okay. And then nothing else really happened at dinner table besides Tori asking everybody where they're going to be sleeping at, even though I thought they already figured that out earlier today, where everybody was going to be sleeping, because there were bunk beds. Like, it was like a little log cabin. They had bunk beds, and some didn't have bunk beds, but it was a whole thing. So now, dinner is over, and I call this part the sleepover time. So, Joy was like, hey, you go put your pajamas on. Let's go get our pajamas on. And next thing you know, Joy and Clifton are dancing down the hallway. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. In their onesies. Joy got on her onesie. I think it was like a tiger or something kind of animal type onesie. And then Clifton had on some adult Bob the Builder. He had on some adult Bob the Builder type onesie that was so tight. I was like, where did you get that from? Where did you get that from? Like, what? But he still looked good. Clifton is my dude. He still looked good. But I was like, where did you get that from, boo? Where did you get that from? But Dakia was 38 hot. You hear me? She was 38 hot. She was like, oh. So not only did y'all plan to sleep together in the same bed, but y'all plan to wear onesies too. So now I know it wasn't an accident or a coincidence that she put her bag on your bed. She didn't say that out loud. She said it in the confessional. And she was mad. She was pissed. And it just goes to show you that, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. And she said that later on, that she got too close to him to the point where he can hurt her like that. And I think that is a part of love. You know, love is a risk. You know, wanting to find love is a risk, and sometimes your feelings are going to get hurt, and they're going to be you're going to get disappointed. But it doesn't mean that that's a bad reflection on you. It just means that that's what happens in life, and you have to now make a decision whether you're going to move on or you're going to stay hurt and bitter. And so, but he should have told her more information about that. He should have told her more. So Sabrina and Demetrius, um, Sabrina had a confessional, and she said that she felt like Demetrius was not reciprocating anything back to her anymore. Like she felt like she was doing all of the efforts, and he was not reciprocating. And then Demetrius, in his confessional, he said that he don't play. No, he told her that he don't play. He said, I don't play. He said, if you're not gonna be invested, you're not gonna be invested. He said, it's up to you to lose it. If you're gonna lose it, you're gonna lose it or use it. All right, so next thing you know, Joy and Clifton are in the bed, and they're just talking and playing around. And then the next scene, Tori and Sabrina, they have their little sit down. Now, mind you, earlier at dinner, it was supposed to be Sabrina and Demetrius having to sit down by themselves. But when Sabrina and Demetrius sat down, they were still amongst everybody else. So they still had to talk to each other without really getting down to the nitty gritty amongst everybody else. They didn't, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody heard them loudly, but they couldn't really get down to what they needed to talk about because they were still in the living room or in the, open quarters with everybody else. But Tori and Sabrina was able to get by themselves, and they were sitting on the little bean bags, and they were talking, and they both agreed that it had been a while since they talked, and they both agreed that after that thing that happened at the pool party, that the flame that they had just kind of sizzled down. It kind of died out. And because no one was really putting any effort to get to know each other anymore, the connection kind of fizzled away, which can happen. So if you are talking to a lot of people and you're not sure who you want to talk to, when you start to dial back on your initial connection with someone or your initial efforts, that connection can just sizzle away. It has happened to me before. I have once that person stops talking to me, if I don't talk to you, if we were first talking on a regular basis for several weeks and then it kind of slowed down and then we didn't talk anymore, once you reach back out to me, that's all gone because nothing really substantial has been grown, or we haven't put in enough time with each other to build anything that's strong enough to last if you're not talking to me on a daily or a regular basis. If you fall back and it's been a week or two and I haven't talked to you, then it's gone away because we haven't talked long enough, and they haven't been talking long enough either to really have these strong connections that they say they have. I mean it is what it's going to be, but I think sometimes that they have unrealistic expectations when it comes to what their connections really are, so it is what it is. So they both decided that Tori decided he was going to find another connection, but it feels like it's a little bit too late. I think Tori should have been gone a long time ago. Not because he doesn't need to be on the show, but I just think that his heart was broken after Sabrina. I think he really fell for her hard. And based on whatever conversation they were having off the camera, alone in their own personal lives, I think that actually fueled the fire in him that he had for her. And once that whole thing happened with her nibbling on Demetrius' ear and Demetrius kissing her at the table, it was like, nah, he just couldn't come back from that. So they decided to just end their connection and, go on their way and just be friends. All right, so it's morning time. So morning time comes, and they're having some mimosas in the kitchen. Tori and Dakia and Demetrius, and they're having mimosas. But Clifton and Joy are waking up in the bed together. Clifton said he woke up he said waking up to joy was like Christmas morning. You hear me? He said the lights and the Christmas tree lights. It was like Christmas morning. Like he was a big old kid about to open up some presents. Did he open up a present that night? Who knows? But I'm just saying, like what? Um, I had the biggest smile when he said that. I mean, it's nothing like seeing a man excited about a woman, you know, and he is so excited about her. And that right there lets you know that his connection with Dakia is not as strong as his connection with Joy. Even up until now, it's not. So, but he's still on the fence. And then Joy, she's like, you know, waking up to him and seeing his amazing smile, and he's such an amazing man. And then he has that baritone voice saying, "Good morning." She is just over the hills, you know, with it, cloud nine. So then next thing you know, Donovan calls Tina, and there's no answer still. So Tina does not answer. She has not returned his texts or his calls. So Clifton and Joy are now walking out to it's like a little dock area, and there's some chairs out there, and they're talking. And Joy wants clarity about, you know, what's really going on with between him and Dakia, and he's still unsure. And that's just, I'm like, come on, Cliff. You know, I think, you know, he's still trying to play the game. He doesn't want to get sent home. You know, who wants to get sent home? But if you do get sent home, the theme of the show has been like once somebody is sent home and you have a real strong connection with them, they'll go ahead and bow out and just go ahead and just be with that person off camera. But Clifton is still like, you know, he's unsure, you know, he's still trying to figure it out. And he kind of like was walking all the way around that conversation. He didn't want to tell her a strong yes or a strong no, but he's spending all of his time at this getaway with Joy. So, I mean, the icing is on the cake. The signs are there. He wants to be with Joy, but he doesn't want to say it definitively because I think he doesn't want to get kicked off the show because of it, and because he hasn't made any other strong connections with any other women besides Joy and Dakia. I think Dakia's connection was just thrown in there so he could stay on the show. Because normally when someone has only one person that they're vying for, they end up getting kicked off because no one else has made a connection with them. But I wrote this down that, you know, sometimes your options can confuse you. If you have more than one option, especially like on these dating shows and when you're dating in public, when you're dating in real life, when you have more than one option, it can really, you know, it can really blur your vision about what you really want if you don't know what you really want. So it's very important for you to know what you really want when you're dating. That way, when it comes into your life, you don't have to guess it. You don't have to guess at it. You don't have to think about it. It's just there. And you can cut off everybody else who is not what you really want. And at this point right now, I don't know if Clifton really knows what he wants. I mean, because Joy is his connection, and that's what she's all about. But I think that he just didn't want to say yet, also because he hadn't talked to Dakia yet, and he knew he was gonna have to have that conversation with her because he sees that, you know, she sees him with Joy, so it's not like, you know, they're hiding it because they're all over each other every minute of the day. So Sabrina and Dakia, they go to Sabrina and Dakia in the bedroom, and Sabrina goes and checks on Dakia because Sabrina sees what everybody else sees, and that's Clifton and Joy together all the time. So Dakia says that, you know, she feels embarrassed because he hasn't even talked to her, and that they even had conversations, you know, on the phone about, you know, them, you know, cuddling up together on the couch and doing all this stuff. And then when he got here, all that changed. And I just think that's just him. That was very wrong of him, and if that's what he's been doing. You know, I think he was just trying to keep her in, you know, his corner because of the show. And also because he still wasn't sure yet, even though his actions are saying something different. So you should never lead anybody on because people are people and people have feelings, and you can hurt somebody. Even when you don't say anything, you still can hurt somebody. And he should have been a little bit more open with her. Now Paul and Dakia are together. They're walking out on the same spot, a little docking area, and they're sitting down, they're talking. And, you know, Paul is telling Dakia that, you know, she's a woman. He was saying that to the camera that Dakia might be the woman that he needs in his life. And then he tells Dakia that she's a strong black woman and he likes her energy. And that if a man can't see what he sees in her, then he's crazy. And then Dakia's like, oh, you're gonna make me cry, and so blah blah blah, all that. And then so Dakia says, Paul is just a breath of fresh air. And I'm like, okay, Paul, if you see all this in her, why haven't you called her before now? Why is it that your first date was the last episode? If you saw all that before, then why as soon as your strongest connection that I thought you had, which was Precious, once she was gone, why didn't you try to talk to Kia then? So it's like he's just saying things. I know he was trying to make her feel better because he probably saw Clifton and Joy together, and he knew that that she has a connection with Clifton as well, because of when they do the little men's lounge. So I think he was trying to build her spirits up, which was great. But don't lie to her, and don't lie to the confessional and say, "Oh, I think this is the woman that I need," when that's not really what you're looking for. Again, I think you're just grabbing at straws, trying to make sure you have a connection with everybody so you can stay on the show. And that's that. And then Tommy is asking about Tina, and there's no Tina. Donovan lets Tommy know that she's not answering any of his calls, and she's not responding to him at all. So now the women go by themselves, talk with Tommy, and Tommy's asking everybody who is their strongest connection. And Sabrina is like, Donnie and Demetrius. She said D&D. She said, I'm all about that D. I hope so, girl. So Sabrina said that she likes Donovan because he's very aggressive. He's a man who shows leadership, and she could follow him. And then Demetrius gives her security. So she likes the aggressive type man who can give her, who can lead her. And then she likes Demetrius because he can give her security. I don't know it's funny because I don't know what Sabrina is going to do at this point. I don't know. I'm kind of like Tori right now. Like, who is she going to choose? Because the way she was talking, she don't want to be submissive, and Demetrius wants her to be submissive. I don't know if she would want to be with him at all. And then she's concerned that Donnie is not really ready to be in a committed relationship because he just got divorced 3 to 4 months ago. But again, he could have been separated for a very long time, and those divorce papers were probably just signed. So that's that. Joy, of course, his connection was, Joy, of course, her connection is Clifton. Dakia, I applaud you, girl. I applaud you. I don't have the little things, but I applaud you. Dakia showed herself as a grown woman because she went ahead and told Tommy that even though her connection was with Clifton, she recognized the strong connection that Clifton has with Joy, and she does not want to continue to seek out that connection. And so she just bowed out from that. And I was like, come on now. That's awesome, because she noticed that why, because then she's going to continue to hurt herself by trying to have a connection with someone who's obviously not trying to have a strong connection with her. Because I think two things can happen. You can have a strong connection with two people, but one of those strong connections are going to be stronger than the other one. So he may have a really, connection that's tugging on him with Dakia, but it's not tugging on him strong enough, mind you, to pull him away from Joy. It's not. Nothing is pulling him away from Joy. Joy has it for him. And if you know it and she has it, go for it. Stop playing around. Tori, Dakia says she has a strong friendship with Tori, and she's starting to have something with Paul, of course. Carmen says, Paul is her smooth operator, and Donovan makes her laugh. He's very funny, and she likes hanging out with him. So right now, the weakest link, to me, they didn't say, Tommy asked, and everybody said who their weakest link was. But it looks like Tori and Paul right now is the weakest link, but we're going to have to wait till next week to get to find out who was eliminated. So Tommy gave the reins to Sabrina to come up and tell the men who was going to be voted off. And she said, she said, Paul and Tori, please step forward. And then they went off. And then it cut to the previews of next week, which will be the preview of Tina showing up on the last day they're supposed to leave. And she's like, I think I just missed everything. They're like, yeah, you did. You missed it all. So who knows what's going to happen with that? Will Tina be able to restore her connections with the guys that she had connections with? I think that was with Donovan. I think Donovan and Paul, maybe Demetrius, who knows? And maybe we'll find out what really happened with Tina. Was her car really broken down? Was her phone off? Like, why wasn't she answering any of Donovan's calls and his text messages? Or was she doing exactly what her petty ex-boyfriend said, she was doing, which was ghosting, like just disappearing and not giving any kind of explanation, just doing it and not coming back. So that is that. So I hope you all enjoyed this review. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I hope this loop is synced up with my audio and my voice. If not, just act like it is. I'm trying to figure out this whole thing. You can donate to me if you want to. Cash at me. $TIEGREEN 3. So I can get StreamYard. And I won't have this issue. I don't know why it's doing this. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all learned something. At the end of the day, when it comes to dating, it is a game. It is a game, but have fun with it. But be mindful of other people's feelings. I think at the end of the day, that's my lesson for this episode, is that be mindful of other people's feelings. If you're not really feeling them anymore, be upfront and be open and tell the truth. Don't play with someone else's feelings. Men don't play with women, and women don't play with men. Just go ahead and tell the truth. We're all grown adults. We all want the same thing. And if you don't want it with me, it's okay. Let me be able to go want it with someone else. Okay. Until next time, thank you so much for joining me. Again, seek God first in all you do. You can reach me. I'm sorry, I forgot to say this. If you have any comments or suggestions, or you want to just say hello, you can email me at talkitupwithtierramonique@gmail.com. And you can also send me a direct message or DM me on Instagram at talkitupwithtierramonique. And please leave your comments below on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can know every time I post a video. Let me know in the comments below, who do you think is going to be with who? Who do you think is going to end up with who after watching this episode, season 5, episode 9? I really like this show. It took me a while to get used to it, but I do like it, and I learn a lot. Again, I learn a lot from these reality shows. I learn how to move in my own dating life, and on the other reality shows, I learn how to move when I get married as well. Okay, again, till next time. Seek God first in all you do. Matthew 6:33. Love God, love yourself, love people, and until next time. God bless. Smooches.